Hello, welcome back to Bridging the Gap. My name is David James, and I want to take a few moments and talk about our upcoming Westside candidate forum that will be happening on September the 26th. As that time quickly approaches, it's definitely a busy time around Bridging the Gap as we're talking to different candidates and their campaigns and talking to people on the West Side and just getting things ready for, we're expecting to be a information tank. There's a lot of different components that come together to make this forum, but altogether, the cause outweighs all the work that's put into it. I do want to make sure everyone understands that this forum is put together for information. It's not to give anyone any leverage to help any candidate out. It's to make sure that information gets to the community. Bridging the Gap has been around for about 4 years as an entity, and since day one, it's always been about the west side of the county, but then it spread out to all of the county as we got more involved. But this opportunity is one that we are excited to be able to host, and we're excited to be a part of, and we do not take it lightly. So with that being said, I want to go over some of the things that will be going on. First of all, I want to talk about the questions. As we have our candidates, and these candidates are going to represent everybody from the Board of Education up to governor, as the candidates come forth, and they're going to take 3 minutes each to tell you about themselves and things like that. After that, it's the questions that are the most important part of this whole forum. And bringing about questions, I don't want to take that lightly, and I don't want to give anybody an opportunity to be biased or to be swayed in their decisions or their questions. With that being said, I did remove myself and my wife from the panel that we have. Took time, we prayed about it, we reached out to people. Some people just because of scheduling couldn't be here for it, so we've had to do some changes. But we took time to put together this panel, and we're not done, and hopefully we're not going to lose any more people, but we're definitely not done as we have a opening for our panelists. As a matter of fact, as you are watching this, if you're interested in that position and you live on the District 2 side of the county, please reach out to us. But we have put together a panel to come up with the questions, and that panel I want to take from a different variety of people and backgrounds, and I just want to make sure that they are in tune with their surroundings. And I definitely want to make sure that the people that are asking the questions, that the people that are seeking to be elected, do influence them, which means they need to be from the district. There are a couple of people that may be panelists that are not going to be from District 2, but they will also not be a part of the panel for District 2 Council, District 2 representation, and if it's outside the delegate or senator, they'll be excluded from that. But otherwise, we've been putting together a panel to make sure that we get the best questions. And again, what they're going to do from day one, they're putting together questions that they're formulating from their community, themselves, their research about each candidate. And they're going to all come together and they're going to discuss it, and they're going to decide on what are going to be the best questions and the appropriate time, because it's going to be 10 minutes for each candidate or each segment of candidates to ask the question. So it may be 4 candidates that we're going to have to, I don't think there's any 4 candidates, but there may be multiple candidates and we're going to ask the questions, but we still have 10 minutes to ask the questions. So this panel is coming together to put together that. Not only that, there's going to be questions that come from the floor, and the questions that come from the floor, we want to make sure that we have those that are appropriate, those that have they got definitely some meaning to do with this whole forum, and we want to bring them to the panel, and we decide on what questions can be asked in that allotted time. So that's the whole reason for the panel. I would say who all the panel is, but again, right now we do have an opening. Well, I guess I can't say who the rest of the panel is right now. As we stand right now, our panel is going to be, first of all, for the District 2 area, it would be just 3, and not all 5. And all three of those will be from District 2 area. So for the District 2 area, the three that will be our panelists will be, the captain of it will be Jane Reagan. Jane Reagan is from the District 2 area. She's very familiar with what's going on. She watches the news. She watches council meetings. She's very much aware. You don't see her in a lot of different arguments and stuff either. So she's very low key. I think she's going to be definitely a great person to have on that panel. Second one we're going to have is someone that I really highly respect. He's been on our show several times, and he takes care of our next to the elderly, most vulnerable people here in the citizens here in the great county of Wicomico. When I'm talking about the homeless, we will have Bishop Anthony Dickerson as one of our panelists, and Bishop Dickerson is also from District 2, and I think he'd be a great representation for those that are or may not have a voice otherwise. I really think that's a great pick. The third person from that area will be the chair of the Westside Neighborhood Alliance, and someone also we've had on the show here, and that'll be Miss Cameron Miller. She's very quiet, but she obviously gets a job done, as we've seen Westside Neighborhood Alliance and that group that got over there do such a great job, and we're very, very appreciative to have all three of them as our three of our five panelists, and those that are going to be representing the District 2 when it comes to questions. Again, that's going to be for the District 2 Board of Education representative, and he's representative now, but he's up for re-election, and I'm talking about Gene Malone. And as they talk, or as Mr. Malone comes up, he's going to talk to us about his vision, maybe some of the things he's done in the last 4 years. And as he's talking, that's when the crowd or the people that are there are going to be hopefully passing the questions they have down to the ushers out there that are then going to bring them up there to the panel and listen. We have a very small amount of time, and let's just say that there's 3 floor questions that are better than those that the panelists have been working on. Well, I'm very, very confident in the panel for them to make the decision and say, well, maybe we need to take these questions. But all questions are not going to be able to be asked. And of course, we're not going to be inappropriate or disrespectful to anyone with the questionings. But we will hear from Gene Malone again. Like I was saying, he is the Board of Education representative to the board right now, and he's running unopposed. And I want to really hear what he has to talk about. I really want to know what's been going on. We're talking about school safety and things like that going on in the school. We've came through a year of seeing a lot of crazy things. We're living in a time now where they're going to definitely have to beef up security in the schools, and there's new schools being built. It's definitely a time for us to ask our Board of Education representative those questions. So we're going to have them also talk to, come up with the questions for the County Council District 2 candidates, which will be the incumbent, the Councilman James Wynn, and he'll be going up against Mr. Jim Atkins. Just real quickly, what I can say about both gentlemen there is I've known Mr. Wynn for a long time. I've known him since he was a kid, actually, just personally. He used to go to my church, but we've seen what he's been doing on council, and I'm eager to hear what he has to say. I mean, he's grown as a speaker out talking to people. He's really, in the past, to me, I've always seen him as just a man of action and few words, but here lately, he's been a little bit more voiceful about his thoughts, and onto his opponent there, he's very voiceful on how he feels, and actually I've heard he's been very much present at many of the Westside meetings. I'm talking about Mr. Atkins, and he's always at a council meeting, so it's going to be interesting. It'll be very interesting to see what both gentlemen have to say and what their vision is if elected for Wicomico. And again, it's all about what's best for the people. We were definitely, if anybody ever thought it's about popularity, I'm not elected or anything like that. I would say I'm not in politics, but I guess I truly am. But it's not a popularity thing to be in politics. It really isn't. There's actually duties involved. There's people who are depending. There's, again, we're talking about for the council. We're talking about there's education we've got to be concerned about, and the funding of it, which is probably one of the biggest components. Then you got law enforcement, and you got a pending discussion on data centers, and it's going to be really, really important that the questions that come from this panel ask the hard questions. And I can also say, as been a person that's been known as the voice of the Westside, as I've spent some time in the last few years going up to council and asking some questions such as the DAF tank, which I haven't heard much about. I mean, there's a lot of things that we need to ask our future representation, and how are they going to handle those things. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to that. Also, the three panelists there also will be come up with the questions for the delegates for that area. Now, again, there's three people there, and it's unique how the delegate situation is set up, because even though we got two delegates that are representing that district there, which right now is Delegate Tom Hutchinson and Delegate Chris Adams, only one of them live in Wycomico, and the gentleman that's going against him also lives in Wycomico. So technically, he's going head-to-head with Chris Adams, but it's for that delegate race there. So we're going to have Mr. Ed Barrett there. All three men will be there, and I'm really excited definitely to hear from Mr. Hutchinson on this Mardelva thought. I actually can get behind that. I do truly believe there's a lot of things we miss out on here on the lower shore that we probably would, benefit from as being another state. But that's just my opinion, my thought. But we will hear from all three of them. Want to hear what Ed's vision is, and want to hear definitely what Chris would like to see do more further. Mr. Adams has been there for at least 8 years, might have been more. I know I've been around politics for about 4 years myself, and he's been around ever since. And just want to hear what all three gentlemen have to say, because here's the thing: if we do not hear what people have to say, how can we truly make a decision on who can represent us? We can't just leave it up to the fact of whether or not they have a D by their name or R by their name, or whose last name appears first on the ballot. We truly are either honored to have or stuck with the decision that we make if we elect the right person or the wrong person. So again, those three panelists will be handling the questions for the first segment, which will be, again, the race for Board of Education, for County Council, and also for our state delegates. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, like I said, there are 5 panelists, and with that being said, we have a 4th panelist, which will be the captain of all the panelists, but that would be Michael Langford. But we're right now short one panelist because of some schedule conflicts. Hopefully we'll have that one soon, and I'm looking forward to that. But when we bring on those other 2, they will also help out with the other ones, which we will leave for another time. I really just want to take this moment right now and talk about how the form is going to be set up. And again, like I said earlier, with each candidate is going to have 3 minutes at the beginning for each category. Each candidate is going to have 3 minutes to present themselves and tell them what their vision is. After those 3 minutes, then it'll be 10 questions that'll come from the panel, okay? And after that, there's going to be a lot of great things we're working on, actually working on doing something alongside the firehouse down there at Westside, where, have some food and some time of fellowship and maybe some shaking of hands. There are going to be tents set up of different people who actually, I know there's one group that actually reached out and want to set up a tent to register people to vote. we're all about this. We're all about community, and we definitely want everybody, even if you're not from that area, to come out. As we talk more about all the other races in a few moments here that are going to be up, there's going to be something for everyone. So once again, this remember how our panel is going to be set up. Not all 5 of them will be making the questions up for the District 2 area, because not all 5 of them from that district. You can't have questions for someone if you're not from their district. At least you can have questions, but I think it'd be a very good idea, which those 3 we will have would be Cameron Miller, who is the chair of the Westside Neighborhood Alliance. It would be Bishop Anthony Dickerson, and I think I didn't say Cameron, and I do apologize if I didn't, but it would be Bishop Anthony Dickerson, Cameron Miller, and the captain of that group would be Jane Reagan. And then they would be joined by the captain of all the panel, which would be Michael Langford, and then we're waiting for that 5th person. So, yeah, with that in mind, let's just go ahead and take a break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about the other races and those that are going to be there. This is Bridging the Gap. For the Eastern Shore delegation, again, there will be Chris Adams and Tom Hutchinson and also Ed Barrett, like I said, but there also may be Cherie Sample Hughes. We've been working on trying to get her, and of course, she's very busy. If her time or her schedule allows, we will also be hearing from her. But in the Maryland Senate race, we are also going to be hearing from Senator Johnny Mounts and his opponent, Katie Clendaniel. I don't know much on Miss Clendaniel. However, that's the reason why we're having this forum, and it's a time of getting more information. So just don't run out and just put your name in or check in something without it knowing about the people. So this is a great opportunity to see what their vision is also for Maryland and representing us up in Annapolis. So again, we will hear from Senator Johnny Maltz and his opponent, Katie Clendaniel. Then for Congress, we have confirmed to be hearing from Dan Swartz, who will be running against the Congressman Andy Harris. Bridging the Gap has been working on trying to reach out to Congressman Andy Harris, but we have not confirmed him being there. However, we will have an opportunity to hear Mr. Swartz's vision and the things that he stands for and those things that he doesn't stand for. Again, knowledge is power. So those will be more that we will hear from. And then we'll be moving into the, what I like to say is the main event of it all, if you will. As we'll take a quick break, and after that we'll hear from our now state's attorney, who is also running for re-election. As of right now, she's the only one on the ballot, but we'll be hearing from Jamie Dykes, and I'm excited to hear some of the things that maybe she'll talk about that she has accomplished in the last 4 years plus that she's been around, and some of the things that she has in store or vision she has for her office, and how she wants to continue to work to keep our streets safe. So we will hear from Madam Attorney Jamie Dykes. Right after that, we will then hear from the candidates for sheriff. And unfortunately, we did hear word that Mrs. Foley will not be able to attend. Maybe things have changed, but as of right now, she did reach out and tell us that unfortunately she will not be able to attend. But we did hear also from Sheriff Lewis that said he will be there. So it's going to be interesting to see what his vision is. And, you know, like I said, hey, there's always that opportunity that we also hear Mrs. Foley's point of view. Then we will hear from the 2 candidates, as we have now had confirmation. We actually had an email come to us yesterday from Mr. Davis, but we will hear both from Mr. Ernie Davis, who is running for county executive, and our now executive, Julie Giordano. It's going to be really interesting to hear more of the platform of Mr. Davis and see where Madam Executive wants to take the county if reelected, and just to see what questions that our panel puts together. I'm excited. truly, it's exciting. It's an honor to be a part of this whole forum, but the great part about my part of the forum is I just get to watch it all and hear the good questions and the good answers, or maybe people get a little nervous as they're getting questions, but don't know. Then after that, what we will do is we will take a quick 10-minute break, and we have been doing our best here at Bridging the Gap to try to reach out to the governor's office. And hey, like I said, you never know until the day comes and the moment comes. But right now we have confirmed to be hearing from the gubernatorial candidate from the Republican side, Dan Cox there, and hear what his vision is and what he would like, the direction he would like to take Maryland. But hopefully we can hear from Governor Moore also. Again, no confirmation, but also no one said that they're not coming. So, again, that's kind of an overview of our forum. I hope that first of all, if you get an opportunity to see us there live, it'd be awesome. But I don't want to end this without saying the great news that PAC 14 itself, not just I'm a local producer with Bridging the Gap, but actual PAC 14 will be there to record live, and they will be live on their Facebook and also through their platform. So there's going to be many different ways that we could definitely view this. And again, Bridging the Gap's working on a way of also being seen on our Facebook page too. But stay tuned. September the 26th. This all starts at 10:30. We have the VFW Color Guard that is going to be that are scheduled to kick it off. We also have a special word that we have someone that's going to start out with a national anthem. So this is going to be awesome. Again, thank you again. This is Bridging the Gap. We'll be back with you soon. Have a great one.